This is Ryan and Michelle, and welcome to the Celebrate MarriageCast, where we hope to restore and reclaim godly marriages through honest and real conversations.
Yes, and welcome to episode 40.
Wow.
40. We are a freight train full steam ahead, and there's no stopping. So thankful for you, our listener, for joining us on this journey. And we hope that this has been really, like Ryan said, life-changing for your marriage as you restore and reclaim your godly marriage, dating relationship, or whatever stage of life you are in. So glad to have you with us today for this 40th episode. And we want to give a shout out to the entire team, to Pastor Chris, to Adam, to Patrick. We have so many people that are incredibly talented. Ryan, I can truly say that if somebody asked us to host a podcast and we were left up to all of our own means to publish, edit, publish, produce, get it fixed up and go, it wouldn't happen.
Absolutely.
And we actually tried to do that once with the YouTube channel, and I have like a dozen plus videos of us. We were reselling clothes, and we made recorded really cool videos, and then they died on my camera roll.
Right.
Because
it's a lot of work.
We're not really tech people.
Right.
We do ideas.
Yeah.
But then the execution. But you guys, we're so grateful for you being here. And today we are talking about what, Ryan? Little things.
A couple things, Michelle. First off, I just want to give a shout out. Your hair looks top notch today.
Oh, thanks, love. Thank you. I just got it done.
Yeah. Looks really good.
Thanks for noticing.
Yeah. Really good.
Appreciate that. It's a summer look.
Yeah.
Fresh summer color and cut.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks, love.
Yeah. Looks real good. So I think this 40th episode is like a perfect segue into what we want to discuss today. And I think we put so much into milestones, right? Like 40th birthdays, 25th wedding anniversary, 50th wedding anniversaries, like retirement, weddings in general.
Sure.
And,
even with your kids, like first birthday and all the milestones.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with celebrating those. I think it's super important to celebrate those. But I think it's also we need to understand that life is made up, relationships are made up of so much more than those dates. Our pastor, Pastor Keith Loy, at Celebrate Church here, I heard him say this once, that it's like, I hope your wedding day is like the worst day of your marriage. And, I first heard that and was like,
what? That's not very nice.
That's not very nice at all.
But that's not the heart that it was intended. Yeah.
But the point is that marriage is made up, relationships are made up of more than one day.
Right.
The idea behind that is that it keeps getting better and better. And that your wedding day is just the start of something so much more beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a really beautiful sentiment then, thinking of it that way. Yeah. What if your wedding was the worst day and it got better from there?
Right.
What a beautiful life.
Right. Absolutely. And I was thinking about this so much, and just thinking about that concept of like, I think sometimes we have this weird like, oh, my wedding day was the happiest day. Like, if you really think about that, like, okay, here's what it's going to be. You're going to have one happy day and the rest is just going to, be downhill?
Right. Or the mundane,
right.
Just trudging through.
Right. I think it's like, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, I love that idea of like, okay, you're starting here with the idea of getting better and better and better.
I think there's a lot of expectations to put on that one day. And then sometimes, I don't know, for us, it was like we kind of decided that we were going to get married. Like we were going to do a destination. And then at the last minute, we found a really cool venue with a really cool date, 11/11/11. And we just started planning our wedding. And we realized in that moment, like we just had to make decisions so fast. For us, we didn't personally put like a ton of overanalyzing into decisions for our wedding. And I feel like that, it was kind of cool. It was eye-opening because I did realize in that moment, yeah, your wedding is one day, but we're talking about a lifetime ahead.
Yeah.
And not that, like you said, not that you can't. I mean, you want to have a great wedding
Absolutely.
day.
Yeah,
but today, we're going to talk about the little things.
The little things, because I think life is made up of so many of those little things, those day-to-day things that, it's easy to maybe breeze over or miss, but it's really what makes up your life. It makes up your marriage, are those little things that happen every day. So
yeah,
I thought we would jump in and kind of share, just a couple of those things that we've noticed in our lives, of those little things that again, it's easy to miss, but they mean so much.
Right. It makes up a beautiful life.
Absolutely.
I love what you said, Ryan, with, there are going to be some of those big, the movie Inside Out. I think of that with the core memories. What are the core memories? You're going to have some of those big trips, big moments, but you're right. A lot of, I don't know, probably 80% of your life is going to be everyday things. So how do you make that as rich as possible?
Absolutely.
Because it's just not possible to go on a big vacation every week, or
awesome.
to have a milestone birthday party with your friends every week, every year, whatever.
Right.
A lot of your life is mundane and little things. So how do you make that and transform that into a really rich life?
Yeah. So Michelle, if you'd be willing to kind of maybe just jump in, like what are like one or two things that you just have noticed that are just those small things that mean a lot to you?
Yeah, I think looking at our marriage, there are a few rhythms that we're in and things that we have just kind of made habitual. So we've shared this before. We got married on 11/11/11. Again, that story, just really cool date, cool venue opened up. And so we planned this wedding in 3 months, but such a cool date. So at 11/11 in the morning or at night, we're fortunate, I guess, in that we're awake for both of those times. We kind of night owls too. So Ryan will text me if he's at work and sees it's 11/11. He'll text me and say 11/11 or XO or I love you, love. Or I'll do that, whoever sees it first. Sometimes we'll text at the same time. And our kids are in on it too. So even our 9-year-old will say, in the summer, he'll say, Mom, you have 1 minute. And I'll say, 1 minute until what? And I'll say 1 minute. And I'll look at the clock and I'll realize, oh, he is reminding me that it's almost 11/11 and that I need to text Dad. If we are in person, we'll give each other a kiss at 11/11, whether we're driving in the car and it's like, okay, Thomas is so adamant about it that I'm like, okay, buddy. So I'll lean over and try to give you a kiss at 11/11 or whatever we're doing, we try to connect. And that's such a little thing, right? That's not a big planned vacation. It's such a little thing. Yeah. But over time, it has turned into a really pleasant part of my memories. It's just something that I feel like someday I'll look back and remember we always did that.
Yeah.
And I think that's the cool thing too about some of these little rhythms or habits is that I'm a big fan of, I've told my teams this: consistency over time always yields results. But in the same way, these little things over time do kind of turn into a core memory.
Yeah.
That's one. I also have some of those little habits that I do with our kids. So when I bring our son to school in the morning, I started this when he, I think, was in kindergarten or first grade. It's been several years now. He's going into 4th grade, but I wanted to fill him up before he went into the world for the day, knowing that kids are going to say things, the world's going to beat you up a little bit. I wanted him to know who he was in Christ and how much he was loved. So I started saying this kind of this blessing over him each morning. And I would say, Thomas, who made you awesome? God made me awesome. Who loves you so much? And then he would say some people, and I said, but who loves you the most? And he would say, well, God loves me the most. And then all these other people love me. And then I would say, what makes you so special? And then we would list off different attributes that he has, I'm special because I'm kind, I'm honest, I'm caring, I'm a good friend, I'm loyal. And we would just list as many as we could every morning. And where it just got kind of habitual, and he could even start reciting those, and he was taking ownership for it. So I feel like things like that. The other day, Ryan, I shared this with you. This is yesterday, right? This happened. So I started I don't know why. I look at our kids, I'm like, oh, I just love you so much. So I started telling him. So sometime throughout the day, I'll be like, hey, Thomas, like, do you know how much I love you? And he'll say, yes. I said, but have I told you today how much I love you? And then he'll say, just now. I said, but do you really know it? Do you know it here? And I'll point to his heart and he'll say, yes, Mom, I know it. But then yesterday, after he said that, he kind of like laughed and ran down the stairs and he said, but you can keep telling me just so I don't forget. And I just thought, wow, this little tradition that we have has really turned into like a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That he loves.
Yeah. I mean, I think, Michelle, that's such a great picture of something that happens. I think both examples of things that happen every day that are just so rich. And it's something that, it's a daily reminder that I think we all need of how much, I think how much you love me, how much you love our kids, and also how much they're loved by God. I think, again, it's such a little thing, but it's something that I think, we'll always remember, the text at 11:11, but I think it's something that our kids,
they'll remember too.
That'll remember as well. Yeah.
And I hope that, if they ever get married, maybe they'll do something fun like that too.
Yeah.
And that set a great example. So Ryan, I have a couple more, but I feel like I want to hear yours first. Do you have some little things that come to your mind?
I do. Yeah, I do. So, probably about once a week. I'd say about once a week, I get a special delivery for Michelle at my office.
Oh yeah.
She brings me a coffee, and I love coffee, and I love my wife. So like the two of them coming,
best of both worlds.
Like, yeah, absolutely, it's amazing. But it's just it really fills my tank, fills my bucket, because I know that in that moment, like, you're taking time out of your day, because you love me. You're a busy person, and like, I know in that moment, like, you're doing something to lift me up.
Yeah. Can I paint a picture of what this delivery looks like for our listeners?
Yeah, and then I have a story to tell.
Okay,
well,
this started probably, I don't know if I was on maternity leave or when it was, but it started quite some time ago. And I would go to the gym. Back then, I think I had Fridays off, so I would go to the gym and I'd bring our son with us. And then afterwards, he would always want to see Dad, and we had flexibility. So we'd bring coffees and pull up to your office. But it's kind of carried on because I do have a little bit of a flexible schedule with when I work. I've just made it kind of a habit to, especially if I know that it was a late night the night prior, or he has something going on, or he's extra tired, or just it's a busy day. I really like doing it too. So I'll get a coffee, and he works in the top floor of this office building and has a window office where it's kind of a cool view where you can see the coming and goings of the lot. So I'll pull up to the office, and I'll drive real slow, make sure there are no other cars coming or going, but I'll drive real slow, and I'll have the coffee in my hand, and then I'll look up to the top floor, to the window. And Ryan, I don't know if you just have a sense that I'm coming, or if you look out the window frequently, but usually you'll see me when I drive up. I think you recognize our car. Yeah. And you'll give like a two-handed wave.
Yeah.
So I'll hold the coffee up and I'll wave, and then you'll like give a two-handed wave. Yeah. I have no idea if other people are looking out of their windows at this time or not. I mean, surely other people have seen this all go down, but that's what it looks like. And then I'll pull up and park, he'll walk down the stairs, and then, I'll kind of go up the stairs sometimes, or he'll come down to the car if Thomas is with me, and then give you your coffee and then tell you to have a great day.
Yeah. See, I have great peripheral vision. And so like...
Do you see the movement?
I see like this movement, and this leads into my story
because
here.
the area that I turn is not like the main way. So it's not like there are a ton of cars. So if there is a
parking lot, kind of to the side. So... typically I'll see this gray car kind of creeping in my peripheral vision.
So like, that's me creeping.
Well, it's going slow. It's not like it's
parking.
It's not parking, and so like that's usually what triggers it. And then like I get super excited because I get to see you and I'm getting a coffee.
Yeah.
Well, the other day, one of my coworkers who also has a gray car kind of was doing the same. He was kind of creeping along at his pickup. And I turned, I give him a two-handed wave, like super excited. I don't think he was looking at me, thankfully.
It wasn't me either.
It wasn't Michelle, but it was really embarrassing. And I was like, kind of let down.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's fine.
It's totally fine.
Yeah, I mean, he parked his car, but I don't know. I think he was doing something. But
didn't he wave to me one day too? I was down and I gave a big wave, and he thought I was waving to him and gave a wave back.
Yeah.
He's used to it. He's fine. He's fine.
Yeah,
so,
it's fine. So
well, I'm glad that means a lot to you, love.
Yeah,
that's a little thing. But
absolutely. It's a little thing that makes such a big difference. The other thing that I'll say, Michelle, and this just kind of hit me probably this last week. I go into work early. I'm actually an early bird and a night owl.
Not saying it's healthy. Yeah.
So, so
you're usually the first one in your office. Like you're there early.
You usually first or second. I'm usually in early, and so I usually leave before our house is kind of up and going.
Yep.
Usually I'll get to see Thomas, for our son, for a little bit. But you're usually still sleeping.
Yep.
And something that I've done, and I don't really know why. It's just, it means something, it means a lot to me that I always say goodbye to you.
Yeah, we started a while back always saying hello and goodbye when we come or go from the house. Yeah.
So I always come in, I give you a kiss, I say goodbye, and I love you.
Yep.
And I never really, I don't know, I didn't really give it a lot of thought. But just this last week, you sent me a message, and it's like, did you say goodbye to me? And I was like, she does know. And like, it's a big deal.
Like subconsciously, even though I might look like I'm sleeping and I am, I know.
Right.
I do know.
And it matters to you.
It does.
My
heart was sad. I thought you just left. I was like,
right.
I never said bye.
Right. And it's something that's so small, but but it's something that occurs every day.
Yeah.
And it really matters. It makes a difference.
Thanks, love. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah. I mean, I think these are the things that, they aren't big, they aren't extravagant things, but they make up your life. They make up your marriage.
Yeah.
Michelle, you said you had something else.
Yeah, I do have a couple more. And I'd be really curious to hear from you, our listeners. What are those things in your marriage? Text them in. We'd love to hear.
Yeah.
Like, what are those little things that have become kind of a core memory or turned into just a habit or something really sweet? Ryan, I was thinking about this too. Every weekend you make me coffee. And I just think that's really sweet. Like every Saturday, you will make me coffee and you'll get out the coffee frother and put the foam on top, and then you'll sprinkle little cinnamon sprinkles on top. And I don't know, it's an act of service. And I just feel like it is really sweet that you make your own coffee and then you make one for me.
Yeah.
I really like that. So, and you do that literally every Saturday. And I think the other thing when I was thinking about this show and the little things is that you write me a lot of cards and you don't just sign your name, you actually write in them. And I've saved those, and those are really special to me. You write thoughts and words in the card.
Yeah.
It's not just Ryan with someone else's words.
Here's the thing, guys. Again, I'm not trying to pick on you, but this is something that is a big deal that will make, honestly, like a huge difference, I think, in your relationship, in your marriage. That when you start writing things in your spouse's cards, like that means so much, as opposed to, like Michelle said, just writing your name.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be a lot, but just writing something that's heartfelt, it makes a big difference.
Yeah, it's really treasured. And obviously I know that you went to the store, you picked out the card with the printed words based on what you thought was the best fit for me. So it's not that I don't appreciate that, because I know you still spent time picking out the card that mirrored your thoughts, but I really appreciate a few additional sentences just saying, things in your own words.
Yeah.
That means a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a little thing that I don't know if you know
Absolutely.
that I just appreciate that. And I save those cards.
Yeah, you do.
Have a whole drawer full of them. And a couple of like Rubbermaid little shoe boxes full of them.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's something. It's a
good tip.
That's a good tip right there. I would encourage you to write something, to open your heart, share something.
Yep.
And it will make a big difference.
Yeah, our son did that for Father's Day for you. He wrote some really sweet sentences in a card, and I could tell how much that meant to you.
Yeah.
Just using your words to edify one another.
Yeah.
So I really would love to hear from our listeners about what those things are for them too.
Absolutely.
That'd be really cool.
That'd be really cool. It'd be really cool. And, again, it's those simple things that life is made up of those things, and to cherish those things and to recognize them. I'm sure there's other things that we maybe don't see that are daily things that happen.
Yeah.
These are a couple that just jumped out at us, but
yeah, I think so. One of our neighbors was headed to a funeral today, and I was just thinking, not to be morbid, but when you're at those funerals, it's not the memories shared are a lot of the little things.
Yeah.
If you really think about it, it's not like, oh, I remember that they went on this big trip and they did this and that. No, it's like, I remember that they always sent me a card and that they always, baked cookies for, whatever. It's right.
Yeah.
It's those little
That's
things that people share and remember. So using your life to just live richly through those little things, being intentional.
Yeah. That's so good.
Great concept for today, Ryan.
Yeah. So good.
Do you know what time it is?
What time is it, Michelle?
It's mystery question time.
All right.
We were told that there are fresh questions in here. These are submitted from our listeners, and we have no idea what's on here. So I have one in my hand. Should I go with this? You picked last time. Are you okay with it?
Yep. Go for it.
Okay. Kind of nervous. We don't know what's on here, but we're going to answer fully and truthfully. Last week was fun.
It was.
Go back and listen.
Yeah.
It was about our most recent argument and how we worked through it. So if you want to hear that, go back and listen. Okay, dun-da-da. What advice would you give for a couple who struggles to find time to be together, or even a date night every so often? Okay, so what advice would you give for a couple who struggles to find time to be together, or even a date night every so often? So I think they're struggling to find time together, and they're struggling to find time for a date night.
Well, I think first off, we've said this a lot, but I think intentionality is so important. And I think sometimes what happens is we have this big illusion of date nights. Of like, well, we've got to get a babysitter, we've got to go out to a fancy restaurant, we have to do this, we have to do this. And like, it has to be this big deal. I think the first part would be to, okay, where are those pockets of time that you have of really kind of evaluating your time? Because we've been super busy, and I get it. Life is super busy, but maybe it's 10, 15 minutes that you say, okay, where can I find 10, 15 minutes to really connect with my spouse eye to eye, of just conversation or whatever it is, for us, one of the things we kind of shifted to, hey, we both eat lunch. Let's have lunch together.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be, especially like when kids were in school, if you have kids, like, hey, we can meet for lunch.
Right.
We don't even have to go out. We can have lunch together at home and just have it be a really rich time.
Right. And I'm thinking too, if one spouse, let's say one does construction and the other one has a little more flexibility, maybe it's driving to the work site and bringing a picnic lunch or something.
Yeah.
Or, if one's working at the hospital and can't leave, maybe it's the other one goes to meet them.
Yeah.
for a lunch, but I'm guessing most jobs, you're going to have a lunch break. So if even one spouse has flexibility to travel to the other, it could be a lunch date.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's also just getting super creative. If it's a difficult and you're finding it a difficult season for date nights, maybe start to rethink that. Maybe it's you have, dinner at home. Like you just make a really nice dinner and have some ambiance, if you will, like, just make, you can make things happen at home.
Yeah. I think I'd be curious to know why they're struggling to find time to be together. If it's financial, I don't get the sense from this that it is. It's just they're struggling to find time. I would say this advice, what you focus on is your priority. So if there's something else in your way, I think the fact that you're asking this question should be a wake-up call to you and your schedule. So if other things are creeping in, look, we're all busy, but we all really do have time when it comes down to it. Look at the other things you're doing. If you're, watching, Amazon Prime or Netflix or Disney Plus, whatever, for an hour a night, like you do have time. If you're on your phone at night, you do have time. So like Ryan said, maybe it's having an at-home date. So if the reasons that you have young kids, get them to bed and then have a date, set the ambiance. Ryan's done that where he's, had, some like fake candles on the table and made a fancy meal. You could get to go, DoorDash it, whatever, but get creative. Where there's a will, there's a way. So how bad do you want it? How bad do you want to pour into your relationship? Because this passivity, which Pastor Robert Lewis talked about this last week, right? I was trying to think when the show was, when part of being an authentic man is rejecting passivity, right? So don't be passive. If this is important to you, find a way to make it happen, get creative. And I think the other thing I was thinking is just, it comes down to being creative. So if it is with your kids, like I said, get them to bed early or find a neighbor. Maybe they can have a play date at someone's house that you trust, or just getting really creative with that. Maybe it's identifying first, why is it a struggle? And then what are 5 ways that we can solve that problem?
Absolutely.
Like brainstorm with your spouse too.
Yeah.
I'm guessing your spouse would like to have more dates.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other thing I was thinking too is walks. And I know that this is tough if you have really young kids that are home sleeping, but I think it was Kevin A. Thompson that talked about being side to side really gets your spouse talking. And for men especially, a lot of what they do is side to side. So whether they're hunting, they're in a hunting blind together, or they're in a fishing boat or whatever, a lot of it's side to side. So if you, as like a wife, can get side to side and walk with them or drive with them, it can kind of bring those guardrails down and get the conversation flowing. So we do a lot of walks too, but we also have an older daughter who's able to stay with her son while he's sleeping. So, if they're in sports, maybe, and you're able to drop them off for practice, maybe you go on a walking date. We've done that while our son was at soccer practice. We walked around the school so we could still see him, but we were doing a walking date.
Yeah.
So
that's a great idea, Michelle.
I think it's how bad do you want it? Where there's a will, there's a way. And brainstorming with your spouse, creative solutions.
Michelle,
great question.
That's a great question. Michelle, that's great.
Well, to our listener, unless Ryan, do you have anything else?
I don't think so. I mean, I think again, just remember. It's important to celebrate, and that's not that's not what we're saying. It's just life is made up of so many more things. I mean. The birthdays, all of that is so. I mean, it's great to have those and to celebrate those. I think of, people, whatever it is. My parents just celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary in December, not just, but in December.
Yeah.
And I just I think of how many moments were shared over that 50 years. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's important to celebrate that, but when you think about what was in that 50 years, It's a lot of little things that happen every day that is so important. It's what makes up your life.
Yeah. Great word. Thank you to our listener for tuning in today. And we want to let you know we have resources for you. Celebrate.church/marriage. We have a new Instagram channel, Celebrate MarriageCast. You can reach us there or send us a text. You can either text in a question or a win if you have something cool to share. If an episode has resonated with you and it's been really helpful, we'd love to hear about that and share that win. You can send in a mystery question. That number is 605-951-0110. And just share this episode. Share it with your friends, your family, people that would also benefit from it. And we hope that you have a great week. See ya.
Have a great week.